I'm Noel,
I'm Jenny.
And I'm Cole.
and we're living overseas on a dime.
That's a Jen. So yeah.
Europe's a very popular location, especially for people from the UK for retiring, and Portugal has gotten more and more in the news as a place where you can retire affordably and live affordably. Lisbon, the capital, bears a striking resemblance to San Francisco in a lot of ways. But once again, you have to be willing to adapt to a bit of a different culture. There's a lot of seafood. And if you aren't a fish fan, I'm not sure if Portugal will be the place for you. Up north, there's Porto, which is a different kind of vibe as a city. And then down south, you also have the beaches and whatnot. We also have Spain. Now, Spain's a huge country with a lot to offer. And many people like the southern Coast del Sol, or the Golden Coast, I believe it's also called, where you have Malaga, you have Valencia, there's a lot, and then of course Barcelona. But once again, a lot of these countries you need to be careful keeping under that $2,000 mark, and it's very easy to go over that if you're not watching your money. France is a location that I think France and Germany and Switzerland are largely outside of that 2,000 US kind of guideline. I think maybe in some of the smaller towns you could pull it off, but it's something you would have to go there and explore and try and find out where you can live for that. So while doing that, you'd likely spend a lot of money. So it's something to be aware of if France is somewhere you're really interested in. Italy does have a lot of places you can go on the cheap, but at the same time, you very quickly can spend a lot of money. We've been looking at Italy as a future travel location, and it's very difficult to find anything under $100 a night for traveling. So once again, if you're going there to explore and try and find where you would like to live, if Italy is a place that's high on your list, you need to be careful in relation to spending a lot of money just to find that place. Now, as you get a bit further east, you do have Eastern Europe with Poland, the Ukraine, Czech Republic, and a lot of these places, Hungary, you can live for quite cheap. So, it'll be something that we're looking at as time goes on at some of these different countries and what they have to offer in relation to both, cost of living and location. The Balkans, you have Croatia, you have Montenegro, you have Serbia, Bulgaria, Romania, and these countries offer an incredibly high value for their cost of living. So it's something that I think is really worth looking into, and they also have very reasonable tax rates and quite easy to obtain visas. So if it's something that you are interested, I would highly recommend exploring those places. Turkey is another location that is very, very cheap and has some beautiful, beautiful locations. Recently, they've been hit by some fires. Same with Greece. Greece is another place that you could consider, but it is quite expensive. So it's another one of those places you just need to be careful with what you're looking at. And then finally, we get into Asia. We have South Asia with India and Sri Lanka being on the highest of the list. Very cheap countries, and if you can adapt to the local culture and you like the food and the lifestyle, they're very reasonable places to live. And then a very popular place on many lists is Thailand, and if you do like the food and the people and the culture, Thailand is very accommodating for retirees. The business angle is a little bit different, but there are talking about a digital nomad visa there, so we'll see where that goes in the near future. We also have Malaysia, which up to very recently had the MM2H, which was not that difficult to obtain if you had some money. They very recently just changed that and made it pretty much unattainable, but I've been reading that there's possibly going to be discussion of repealing that. Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos are all countries you could explore and look into, and all have very reasonable cost of living. When you get into East Asia, we have Korea, Japan, Taiwan, China, and all of those have to do a lot with what you're comfortable with, because they do tend to be a little bit more inclusive culturally and difficult to penetrate in relation to language. Now, does that mean you can't live there? No. But it just means that you definitely need to explore what you're willing to do in relation to living there. And on top of that, most of them don't really have visas that are easy to get in relation to retirement or business. So it's something that you need to look into. And I think in the next year or so, I'm really looking forward to exploring a lot of these different countries, and we'll see where it brings us, because there's a lot of great places to travel to and a lot of great places to live, and a lot of places that are a heck of a lot cheaper than Canada and the US. So, if you enjoy travel and you enjoy living in other countries, there's no reason whatsoever to stay in the Canada or US if you don't want to. And ultimately, who knows, you might find a home somewhere else, or a home for 5-10 years and then go back to Canada or the US, whatever you want to do. There's so much we can do in the time that we have, and there's no reason to be limited. So I hope that this video was of help to you today, and happy travels.